operators, your hosts, Robert Evers and Michael Brooks. Please stay tuned for a good episode. Peace.
So, so you're guaranteeing it's going to be a good episode?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I know, man. Let's go and get it on. All right. So,
What's up?
two smooth operators, Brooks, Evers. It's better when you record it because that way we can't mess it up.
Yeah, I know.
So, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just got done with Christmas and getting ready for the New Year's party and stuff.
Oh yeah. Are you guys? I think I asked you this last episode. I know the answer, but you're not playing out or doing anything
No, no
for New
playing.
Year's
No, I don't have a gig till February 8th.
with the pink slips.
Yeah, with the pink slips.
Well, let me get the screen right. Shoot, I don't even have the screen right. To get these two handsome mugs up in there, get my
Yeah,
face right.
man. I'm gonna
Yeah,
break your camera.
that'll make both of us, man. Well, I'm sure you saw my misadventure this last couple of days. You seen how bad my foot looks,
Yeah, riding a dirt bike, huh?
man. That thing, it was like I was in clown school, man, because it was like super small. Clutch was like 0 or 100, so I was figuring that out. And then we were out in the desert, so there were just rocks and all kinds of stuff that were all everywhere. And I did like a little, oh man, I can't even remember who the top. Oh, Hurricane Bob Hanna, Jeff Ward came across that berm, and there's a huge rock just sitting there, and it got my ankle. Of course, all I had was tennis shoes, which also
Hmm.
had their own adventure this
Yeah.
Christmas. Kind of got caught in the fire just a little bit, so to speak. But yeah, man, it keeps looking worse and worse, and but luckily it doesn't hurt. I mean, just to stand on it, it doesn't hurt. But when in the middle of the
Yeah.
night you bump it the wrong way, you're in bad shape. So, well, I
It's
put
like
the
a
link out,
middle-aged man living like a
man.
teenager.
Man, I'm 50 now. How old are you?
I'm 43.
43, man. I got some years on you. You still got a
Yeah.
full color beard, man. I'm gray as hell.
Yeah, I still got that color.
Yeah, dude. But now let's compare this. who's got the most on top? Oh
I
shoot,
got
you
some
still
hair
you,
up there,
you still got some on top. That's right.
but it's
Well,
fading out a little bit.
man, I was going to grow it out for the winter, just because I was bored, had nothing better to do, and I'm already tired of it, man. I need to get back to where it's easy and thin. That way, where I put my welding helmet on and put my visor on, it doesn't get in the way all that much. So
Yeah, I
that's
cut
that.
my hair off um, about a month ago, so I got tired of the long hair, so I cut it
But you
off.
were you were you were doing it old school though. You had
Yeah,
business up front and party in the back.
yeah, yeah. And people got
Yeah,
mad
bro.
at me when I cut it, man. Like even customers, they're like, "I liked your hair." I'm like, okay.
That's the only reason why I'm growing a beard is people say they like it. Other than
Yeah.
that, I wouldn't have it. I, I
There's
don't I don't think I don't think it looks professional, me personally.
well, it looks professional then because you look like you know what you're doing. I reckon because they like it. Somebody with the beard and put you a little pencil in your hat. They think you the smartest person around.
A vest,
Yeah,
a
all that
little
stuff.
yellow vest and a tool
Yeah,
belt.
yeah,
No,
man. You can do anything.
my go-to with that is I always throw cones out, man. That's when you really get the respect from customers. I got 4 cones. You put those 4 cones out, and when they step across those cones, that invisible barrier, you say, "Hey, if you're gonna, we're working over here, so just be cautious. This is a dangerous
Yeah,
area." But yeah, you throw a hard hat and a vest on, you could pretty much do anything in the middle of the road that you want.
yeah,
Put a clipboard in there, and it's a whole different story.
yeah,
I had a
yeah.
buddy who he had a band, and where they were doing rehearsal didn't have any electricity. So he was a part-time electrician. So he knew that the building over had electricity. So him and the other band members, they all put on hard hats and vests and ran
Yeah.
a 10 gauge 10-2 over there and got them power for the band. But yeah, man, with the hard hat and a vest, you can pretty much do anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, shameless plug, got training coming up in February. I'm going to be teaching along with Coyote Denali, hands-on training on an SL90 loops, the SL90 new board, the foot pedal, gate operator stands, and V Groove track. So anybody can scan
V
that right
Groove
there,
tracks.
or go over to finchuniversity.com/subscribe to keep up to date. There she is. Does that look familiar
Ooh.
to you?
Yes, yes. That looks like
Heck
a
yeah,
new
man.
All-O-Matic board.
All right. So let's talk about the board. We're going to talk about the board and the chain. First of all, let's talk about the board. In general, what are the positives that you like about the board?
It has extra like open accessories for your open contact for like your fire, and then your open in common for your keypads and stuff like that. So it's got where the old ones just only had like one spot. So you got two spots for sure to put your accessories to. I like
Wire
that
in
part
your,
of it.
you can you don't have to wire everything into exit.
No, no, you got some more choices.
Right. That's the way if I remember correctly, that's the way we always had to do it. Everything was exit. I don't think, I guess they did
Hmm.
have an open stop close on there, but you had to turn some switch on to make it operate a certain way or
Yeah.
something. But
Hmm.
I ended up always wiring everything into exit, which means that you ran out of inputs and you ran out of commons. But
Hmm.
yeah, they do got fire in there, which is nice. And they do have a couple more inputs that you could do to open the gate. But when you separate fire, what's so nice about that from a diagnostic standpoint is you can easily point out that, oh, the fire input, whatever's connected
Yeah.
to it, doesn't necessarily have to be fire, but you can start isolating your inputs,
Yeah.
which is beneficial in a number of ways, especially if you're hooking into an access control panel.
Well, see, if you come up to it and you see the fire light is on and the gate's wide open, and the fire department went out there and turned the key and they forgot to turn it back or something, and you go out there, the lights on, you know what the problem is. The fire lights on. So
Yeah, so yeah, having the inputs, and we talked about this the other day. The yellow connector that's on there, it might be just a common thing
yeah.
that they're actually doing these days. That like on LiftMaster, where they've got the yellow for the monitor open, monitor close. I think they have three of them, whereas opposed this All-O-Matic has four just for your monitor open, monitor close.
Yeah.
So, but but what other positives do you like about this board?
You can program the timer on it. 7-day timer.
Oh, that's a big one. I was
And
talking to somebody in Tennessee the other day, and he was just like, that just alone, you just sold me on the board.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I like that. We talked about this at the Finch show. All right, now, so what's the first thing that you do when you connect this board? You and Luis failed, and
I know the answer now.
your answers were right. And by the way, I didn't even think about that. Luis is the one that told me, and he got it wrong
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he just said what you
You
did.
got to set the time and date on it,
Time and date, baby. That's the only way you can do it. Now, I
and then
haven't.
call the
I
factory.
They call the factory. Yeah, Luis said, call the factory and hook up your photo eyes, and then he got it right. He said change that timer. But being on the
I,
West Coast, it's obviously easy for him
yeah.
to miss that because the times are set to the West Coast. Now
Mhm.
he says that. I don't know if that's. I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I haven't set the timer on any of the ones that I've installed,
I
so I'm
haven't.
not even doing that.
Everything that I've installed has been controlled with software. So um, haven't had the chance to do like what I would call standalone operator with the timer set to it.
Yeah. Have you used any of the wireless stuff? Wireless primary to secondary?
Not yet. I I got I think I got one of the last operators where you had to run a wire to it, so I didn't have that opportunity yet.
Yeah, I haven't either, and I won't do that if I have a choice. So I tell this to everybody: if you're doing a retrofit, meaning that you're taking out old gate operators and putting in new gate operators, test the primary, secondary, and see if those wires are good that go from the primary to the secondary, and then if they're not, see if you can pull it, and if they're not, if you can't pull it, then when you're doing your loops, if you're redoing loops, make sure you cut a primary secondary in there. It's
Yeah.
just an extra 3 or 4 feet on each side, and it'll save your butt.
But on that note, I'm pretty confident that it works real well because I've used them before in the past with other operators, and I haven't had no failure with that with the no wire
Well,
connection.
that is the primary reason why I will always put a hardwired connection in there, is because I had some LiftMaster CSLs where I spent
Mm.
16 billable hours that I completely lost and couldn't pay for,
Oh,
by
that's
them.
because um, they had issues with theirs when they first came out, I believe. Because the ones I did for the Viking, and this was 10 years ago. Dude had a stone driveway where I couldn't cut it or nothing, and I got the Viking R2s pad mounts, and they communicate through the Bluetooth system.
I had that problem, and then ever since then I was just like, it is what it is. So
You sound like my
I'm not gonna
dad.
do it.
I got to hardwire everything.
No, why not, man? I could guarantee. I see. That's my whole thing. This is one of the reasons why I know that BD loops makes a superior preformed loop. You can't have more insulation and it not be a superior loop. But the flip side to that is I have more predictability when I do a
Yeah.
hand wrap loop.
Well,
So that's the reason why. And your dad's a smart person, so of course he says that.
oh gosh, yeah, he's smart. Yeah, he told me not to chew no gum too. So
Oh yeah, were you chewing
yeah,
gum the other day?
the
I didn't.
last
Wasn't even paying
podcast
attention to it.
was when I chewed a little bit of gum. But
Oh, did you?
yeah.
Yeah, that's so that's with the primary secondary. I'm only going to do it as a last resort. And the thing is when you need it, man. There is no
Yeah.
if, ands, or buts, because there's no guarantee in that wireless world. There just isn't.
Well,
And let me
you
and
know,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though. Can you test the wireless connection, right? If it doesn't work, how do you determine whether it's the board, the other board, the wireless connection, the
you can
antenna? How do you
test the
test it?
wireless connection when you hit your remote.
So basically, if it doesn't work, that you're actually testing it. No, man, that's not how it
But I
works.
mean, it tests. You could put your meter on it and ohm it out and see if it completes the circuit.
Through the antenna,
Well,
man, you don't know what
they hook up somehow, don't they?
the wireless. Well, you could. So you can't test the antenna, right?
Mhm.
Because the antenna, well, you technically you could if you did a ohms test and it had leakage between the shield and the conductor, then you would know that
Yeah.
it's not good. But when you look at it and then it says 70 ohms on there, you're not testing 70 ohms of resistance, one down the conductor or two down the shield. It's the resistance between the shield and the conductor at whatever frequency it's
Well,
rated. So you can't even test that. So
so if it didn't work, if I had another one on my truck, I just swap it out and test it that
okay,
way.
Okay, that's fair enough. And that's what you do with anything. Me
Yeah,
personally, I would pull. That's probably what I would do if I didn't have the wire. Well, that's the only reason why you would use it anyway. Is swap the board, swap the antenna,
yeah,
which you would do all of that in one anyway, and then
mhm,
swap the secondary or swap the opposite board that you didn't
yeah,
test, and then see if that works. Now everything is new, and then if that doesn't work,
mhm,
you don't know whether the RF is the issue or not. So that's the only
yeah,
reason why I'm saying
yeah,
just run a hardwire.
yeah. But if you're in a situation where you can't bore up under the road and it's $100,000 driveway, why not do it? You know,
I agree with you. I'm just
you have
saying
to take that
ideally that's what I
risk
would do.
of it failing. And it sometimes it's worth taking, sometimes it's not worth taking. So, but this technology has been out for a few years now, and it should be getting better and better as each year goes by.
Man, you got a lot of hope, man. A lot of hope. But yeah, at the end of the day, for me, the one time that it doesn't work is the one time, or that is the catalyst for me to change. And that's what happened. I mean, 16 hours at 200, there's $3,200 it cost me that one time, that
16 hours.
I couldn't get back, man. So for
No.
me, if I could do it, I was lucky on that job too. So they had not filled in the electric trench. So I went back out and dug the whole trench and then put another conduit in and then just ran a low
Okay.
voltage wire. But anyways, that's just me. That's the way I would do it.
That's you. You know, I
So
was the same way too. But as we talked about before, I had to change my game up a little bit because you have to dig out of the trench, run some wires, and then you start getting into this. See, I used to do nothing but wired keypads. Now I'm putting in wireless keypads and stuff, and I had to give some of that up to adjust my pricing in the market I'm in.
oh yeah.
So
That's fair enough. And running that wire costs you a lot of money. So I get it. But that goes back to never ever having a failure. So there's not been one
yeah,
LiftMaster wireless keypad, one of the $90 ones that you could buy, the plastic with the cover, or the AK11 wireless, whatever that is. See, I haven't put any of those in, but I'm sure the technology is just as reliable. There are some tricks,
yeah,
right? When you're mounting it to a metal post, right? It does retard that RF signal sometimes it
yeah.
actually amplifies it, and that's why I never predict what's going to happen. But yeah. So how many times I've installed a keypad and how many times I've had them fail, they don't compare to the wireless issues. I had another wireless issue too, and maybe it was when they first came out that was the issue. But so the wireless is a benefit in the new board. What don't you like about? Oh, and then the transactions is nice too. I like having the transactions.
Um,
But I'd still rather have more than 50.
yeah. I don't know what I don't like about it because I'm still learning how to do it. So I mean, I like
Well,
it. I'm just getting adjusted to it. Um,
I think I think the other things that I like too are the differences from the old boards, the stuff that we needed, not necessarily that is groundbreaking per se,
yeah.
like we were talking about the number of inputs and comments.
And then it's got where if it fails, it records it. The I believe the if it something obstruction or something, the gates open, you can go back to it and see how many times it failed. I think like 50 times, but
Yeah,
I haven't had the opportunity to have that problem yet. So,
yeah. I had a bad guidepost. What's up, Alan? Alan
so
chiming in. Uh, the I had an opportunity where I had a bad guidepost where I had to go back in and see that it was the inherent reverse sensor.
Yeah.
But that was a bad guidepost, and it was just one of those things where it had some slack in the chain, and I left it like that on purpose. It was SL90. It would pull the gate, it would take up the slack, and then also the post, the guide post, which the gate operator was mounted to, would also do the exact same, but in the opposite direction. So the gate and the posts were pulling back each other in the opposite direction and putting tension on that chain, and it found a resonant frequency. And boy, I mean, once it found that, it would just kill it. So I have had an opportunity to go back and look at the transactions, but so I was glad to have it. But I didn't do it over my phone, which you can do easily by hooking it into the USB port. But I did like having that. Well,
I
I've got
think
a couple of.
I need to try that with the phone, so I need to look into that.
I think if you're doing scheduled service, or if you've got a problem that you haven't figured out and you've gone back more than one time, I would just pull them off of there, because at the end of the day, you're going to need to be able to justify your billable hours. So if you have date, time, reverse sensitivity settings, the speed, and all that stuff documented, it's going to help you get paid. Because if you start going out there 3 or 4 times to figure it out, you're going to need all that information.
Yeah. Yeah. But another
I just wish
thing
it was
about it
wireless.
that I like and is foot pedal light FP. And
All right.
my one of my the guy I trained, he called, said, "Hey, there's a light on the board," and he sent me a picture. And I said, "I don't even know what that light is. I don't even know what that means." So I called the factory. And the guy laughed at me and said, "That's the foot pedal." I was like, "Oh, okay, makes sense now. Foot pedal."
All right. It does make sense, but I will bet, I will put money on it that the next iteration that they have, they're going to write foot pedal on it,
Yeah, because I
because
was like,
the way that it looks, I mean, it's fire protection, freedom pole, free French fry. I mean, however you read that thing,
yeah.
it does not suggest that the foot pedal is down.
And
They
I
would be.
wasn't present at the operator, and he sent it to me over the phone. And then I also tell him, like, "Look, man, I'm getting used to this board too, so let me call the factory." And
Yeah.
when he said foot pedal, I was like, "Oh, I'm an idiot too." So
Well, that goes to back to that. This goes to now some of the things I don't like. I think that the way they have the LEDs, the MS Link, the radio, the exit loop, the safety loop, fire access, and all of those LEDs that directly relate to the inputs, if you want to call them inputs,
yeah,
on the board, why they're not next to the board or next to the input itself, in my opinion, is a big mistake. Like, there's no reason why the primary secondary link LED should not be. There's no reason why it can't be up there by the data input, right? Because that way, if you're getting data
yeah,
next to it and it's flashing, that's where you're looking at. And then
yeah,
for your fire input, should be next to a fire input. And they're going to have to relabel FP disable, because it just don't make. I'd rather just say foot pedal. If it just said foot pedal, like foot pedal disable, like that doesn't make sense, yes, the foot pedal's down, but the foot pedal's not disabled. It's a stop command. That's what they need
yeah,
to have it.
yeah.
If that's all that it
Well,
is.
that's what it used to be, was stop.
Yeah, right. Because
Mhm.
it's still
Yeah,
connected directly to the stop input.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably something I need to test out, that between the common and the stop up there, whether it be a dead short, if that foot pedal's down, because I bet it's the same input. But either way, I don't like how the LEDs are not next to what they are, because if they were next to what they are, like, you could easily distinguish the difference between exit loop and your fire input. But because they're all in one line next to each other, it doesn't lend itself to easily diagnose it. And then they've got to change FP disable. It's got to be foot. If it just said foot pedal, because you're not disabling the foot pedal, and the foot pedals. I don't know. It's just giving it a stop command. So I wish they would. I wish
they could put foot loose, and every time the light comes,
that's what I'm hoping. So you and I are always on the same page about that. Come on, dude. You gotta cut loose, foot
yeah, man.
loose. Yeah, well, yeah, we'll talk to them about that. It's one or the other, you know.
Yeah.
But having the LCD on there, I think is cool. I think going around some of the stuff and the way that it's labeled, I don't think inside the screen, I don't think is the greatest. But for anybody that works on it the first time, I don't think there's going to be that big of a learning curve.
No.
I wish that the open, stop, and close buttons were uh bigger and separate from like the open ERD, close ERD, and close timer. I just don't know why those need to have their own buttons down there. It just seems like it's a little confusing. But so far it's been reliable. Haven't had one problem with them. And
No.
and I had a gate fail, and it melted the plastic right next to
Yeah.
on the right hand side over here, and the gate operator is still rocking and rolling just fine. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I
I've been
remember
happy
you
with it.
showing me that one.
Yeah, they and of course that's one thing that's so great about them is they're so um helpful to the installer, like beyond what their responsibility is. So it's really cool that they go out of their way to do that. FP could also represent fire protection or something similar, someone else uneducated. And Alan was saying that it's definitely a weird acronym, or putting it like you're from the country, piss poor acronym. So yeah, you're definitely right. So hopefully they just label that as
Uneducated.
foot pedal. The way that the underscore is, I don't know. I just think that it
Yeah.
seems kind of weird.
You
So
know, all in all, I think it's good. You know, it's just getting familiar with it. With anything else in the industry, when they change something, you got to get re-familiar with it. You got to learn. So they're constantly keeping us on our toes.
yeah. Well, then the second thing is I don't have a picture of it. What do you think about their new chain that
Oh
they
man,
have?
it's great chain, man. I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, because
I've
I'm in the
never.
rust belt, man. Everything rust out here where I'm at.
Yeah, it does. I'm just wondering how it's going to hold up. So we'll have to come back and check on that.
Um,
Frustrating thing with me is that my distributors, which are a lot different here in Las Vegas than they are everywhere else, the Las
yeah.
Vegas, this area is not a huge area for gate operators. It's not. They're not blowing it up. So even my local distributors, they don't have stock
Wow.
of that. Of any replacement chain. So I've had to take all that brand new chain that comes with the gate operator and replace it with nickel. So
Yeah.
um,
I mean, you got to do
I
what you got to do.
yeah, well, it just costs more money to do that. Um, so anyways, that's the only thing. So you haven't had any problems with the chain?
No, I haven't had any problems with the chain. It looks good, looks great. It's not so greasy either when you take it out the bag, so you can
But
do it
that's a
with your bare
concern, right?
hands. No,
But that oh,
no.
okay. I was just thinking that it's not as well lubricated as the other ones.
It,
Alan, by the way, if you got an opinion on anything, you can jump on this. If you got your phone and your camera, you could jump in on this conversation. But yeah, so we'll rely on you since you have a highly corrosive environment where you're at to tell us how that
yeah,
works.
because normally in a couple of weeks on the nickel chain, it'll start rusting.
I've noticed that too, which is why I don't do any nickel at all. I'll just replace whatever's nickel with black. So I got like
Mhm.
stacks of 10 foot, packs that I just replace it with black and call it a day.
And the
But
black does the same too. In a couple of weeks, it'll start rusting.
it
Brown
definitely
black.
will, but you can't notice it as much.
No, not as much.
So I'm gonna try something new, Robert. I'm gonna see if I could put this link in the stream, and can't post messages to some channels. So I'm gonna put the link in the stream and see if anybody tries to use it. I've been just posting it on Gate Industry Only and a couple of those other ones.
Yeah.
So we'll
Cool.
see if anybody
Yeah.
uses it. But yeah, if you're interested in talking about this and you got your phone and everything ready to go, just click that link and I'll see it flash over here and we'll get you on here. So
Yeah.
any other input on that um, control board? And by the way, I could tell you what BLDC means if you don't know.
What's that mean?
Brushless DC.
Oh,
I'm
because
telling
they
you, man.
got the brushless motor.
Yeah, so I was looking up I was doing some more research for classes and stuff, and somebody had asked me to write something about brushless DC motors, and I was just like, well, I'm not qualified. I do have one book. By the way, I'm pretty sure it's a free book. I'm gonna put the name of the company in here and possibly a link. Motor book. Bodine motor book. I'll try to hunt it down. I'll add it. I'll add it later if I can. But it's a little outdated, so it didn't have brushless DC stuff in there, and I'm not really qualified to do. I mean, there is nothing that we're doing to repair motors in the field anyway. Have you with the DC motor? Have you done anything, or you just replace it if it's bad?
I replaced one motor out of. I probably replaced about 2 or 3 motors out of 20 some years now. So, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I've replaced some brushes. That's a disaster, and
Yeah.
I have replaced tons of AC motors.
Yeah.
But the name of the company is called Bodine. There's a link to some of their books. To the best of my knowledge, they're all free downloads. So if you want to know about motors and stuff like that, that's really cool. I actually have the printed version of it, but that's a really cool book that gives you just general description about motors and stuff like that. You'll see it
Yeah.
in the chat. I'll put
Yeah.
it up here too real quick. So yeah, they got that's. I'm assuming that's what it is because I typed in brushless or no DC motor troubleshooting on YouTube and in Google, and
Okay.
everything came up BLDC, so
Mhm.
brushless DC motor. So All-O-Matic, we got you
Yeah.
figured out. Don't even try to play us, man. We know exactly what you're
Yeah.
doing with all your model numbers and all that stuff. So out there where you're at, you do a lot of you don't do very much V track, do you? Is it all cantilever?
Not a whole lot because like in the '90s, they did a lot like a regular chain link roll gate style and had a wheel with a like a lawnmower wheel. Then another wheel was the V track, and they
Mm-hmm.
used to put them kind of gates up a lot in the '90s, and they did not work very well at all. And they had the V groove track in it. And what would happen? Rocks would eventually pile up over the V track, and so pretty much when I came across systems like that, I take them completely out, put cantilevers in
And that was were they recessed in the ground or were they above grade?
above ground.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have very many problems in Texas with the above ground ones, but I've noticed that below grade ones are a little bit more popular here in Nevada, and
Mhm.
I've just never understood that. Have you seen them where they sink they put some channel and then they weld
Yeah,
angle in there?
yeah, I've seen it, but
What's your
not in
opinion
my
on that?
area. We don't have that, and if we did do something like that, it would be like in a somewhere where I had to do it like that. But
Yeah, I've had a
yeah,
couple of properties request it.
yeah,
And my first thing is, well, are you going to have it blown out every week or every couple of weeks? Because dirt and debris is going to get under there. And I don't care that this gate's 2,000 pounds. It don't take much other than a small rock to make that thing pop off. So
You just got to keep them clean. If you don't, you're gonna have to call the gate technician out there to clean it out for you.
ain't that the truth? Thank God for that, right?
Yeah.
Well, and then one other thing I wanted to mention to people was about the difference between sealed versus non-sealed wheels. So when you're doing a V groove system, are you using this kind of what I would say sealed bearing wheels? Or are
Now,
you
a
using
sealed bearing wheel would be like, well, you didn't have to use no grease.
that's correct.
Okay, I would probably try that out.
And
Because
are you
I don't use it, but I would try that part.
Oh, okay. So, for those people out there, yes, if you're not going to have your gate operator maintenance, this is what is going to happen, or your gate wheel maintenance. This is kind of what can happen with your wheels, where you need to be putting grease in there all the time. And this one you see on your screen right here, surprisingly enough, it actually was still working when we were out there replacing it. But
Wow.
I also wanted to bring up, just like a sealed lead acid battery,
Mhm.
sealed wheels are not sealed. A sealed lead acid battery is not sealed. All right, it is not free from debris, in essence, getting in or getting out. It
Mhm.
is just less likely based on the design that it has. And then, as well as sealed bearing wheels, um, although I don't recommend it, but in a pinch, you can actually pop those seals off and put grease in them,
Mhm.
and you can get a little bit more life out of them. But once they've been running in without that grease, it definitely is. It's definitely going to shorten the life on there. So
Yeah.
I saw this the other day where they didn't put a wheel, or excuse me, yeah, a bolt that
Mhm.
had um, a nipple for a grease gun, but the wheel had it. And that's the way most of these cast iron wheels will have it. They'll have a grease gun fitting on the bolt and a grease gun fitting on the wheel. So what these guys' idea was, just drill a hole to where you can access the little nipple on the wheel. I know you're on your phone, you probably can't see it as well.
No, I see. I see.
But yeah, but just to FYI, if you do that, you are not getting your grease gun inside that wheel box to put it. You could see it, but you're not getting your grease gun in
Yeah.
there to do it. So you have to take it apart.
Take it apart
Um,
and grease it up. Okay.
when you're doing um, this, might be a good question for you. Logan had a question. Would you recommend the liftmaster IHSL 24UL for a 42-foot tie metal cantilever, and you being more cantilever friendly? But
Um.
have you put any of these? I think this one is the industrial.
Yeah. I
uh
mean, it should work. If it says it can push 42 feet, it should be able to do it. So I'll say
I'm
go
a look.
for it, man.
So I want to say, I thought these were called INSL, so I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I know a couple people that exclusively put these in, Logan. I'm gonna put this down here.
Yeah.
Uh, you could check out Ben Simon. He's put a couple of these in.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
Logan, what area of town are you in,
Yeah.
or in the world? Let's first of all see see where you're at.
And
If you could put that
also,
in the comments.
the most important thing is making sure that gate is rolling easy. And as long as that gate is rolling easy and you got the room on your limits to open up 42 feet, you have to look in the book and read what the limits are on opening and closing and the weight and figure how much your gate weighs and all that. And I'm pretty sure that can handle it. Um,
Yeah, that
but
model is rated at 90.
Yeah. So
feet at
yeah,
5,500 pounds,
yeah,
which
they
is
can handle it.
surprising. I wasn't aware of that.
Now, did he
But
say tri metal?
it was Thai Metal, that
Tie
brand,
metal?
Thai Metal.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a bigger gate. Um, I would go with that big Lanier. It depends on where you're putting it out, who you putting it for too. Are you putting it up for prison system or
No, don't talk about that. I didn't know you was going to bring up my family reunion. All right, come
yeah,
on now.
man.
No, so the those tie metals, they don't play around with those. So it's one of those things where that's probably got quite a bit of weight. If nobody is familiar with tie metal gates, you can go, I think it's tiemetal.com, tymetal.com, and
Lanier
you can look at their gates. But the linear
got the
gate
big
operator,
cabinet just like that LiftMaster one, and it
yep.
has a bigger motor in it too. And that sucker will push it no problem.
Yeah. So he says he's got an old Osco, which basically is linear now. I mean, it might not
Yeah,
be the same footprint, but it
yeah,
probably actually is. Those the HSL IHSLs that Logan's talking about. I've put a couple of them in. They were super easy to install. I would probably
yeah,
recommend building like an H type frame, and then pounding those into the ground, and then that way on the H part, on the horizontal part, you can use that to strap your post together. But moving that back and forth, the
yeah.
way they have that unistrut mounting on the side, man, they are pretty easy. And I didn't
So
realize that they were 5,500 pounds. But yeah, they're good gate operators. But Logan, I put Ben Simon, his name in there. He's up in Minnesota. If you can't find and get a hold of him, he's putting some of those in the exact same environment that you're putting them in as well too. So you could reach out to him. He's a FWA ambassador, and he'd be more than happy to help you. Talk about those, because there's some other environmental stuff
mm,
that you've got to worry about in that snowy climate, cold weather climate. You also
yeah,
might want to keep in mind, you might want to buy the optional heater, and you might want to put the heater on your photo eyes as well too. Um, I just recently talked to Ben, and he said he was using those through beam photo eyes, Logan. So you might want to check that out. I would highly recommend not using their wireless edge system for that environment, and then I would recommend just go ahead and upgrading both photo eyes to their through beam photo eyes, either an EMX IRB 4X is what I think they call it,
yeah,
or the LiftMaster photo eyes that have the heater built in. I've heard good
yeah,
things about the LiftMaster ones, and I know that the EMX ones
yeah.
will work. So
Now the LiftMaster one. Um, did you get a chance to test the speed out on it? Did it have a good fast speed? See that
I,
Lanier one, the ones that I'm familiar with, they would open up real quick. Are they
I
the same as that?
I would have to double check, but I think that they're probably only at a foot per second, and you could slow it down, but I don't know that you could speed it up faster than that. If anybody knows that what the IHSL 24UL can do with speed, if you could throw that in the comments. So, Logan, you'll have to double check to see if that 30 inches is right, and if it's round pipe, you can use that unistrut brackets and mounting that the LiftMaster has, and it's pretty flexible. I think you have about 7 or 8 inches front to back that you can move it. So,
And
and the housing is about the same. So, but you
you
might want to
can,
take a look at the linear ones as well
yeah.
too.
I think they should be the same, if I ain't mistaken. Because really they're the same box. If you look at them close enough on a lot of them.
You
Um,
talking about the Osco and the linear, or just linear and the LiftMaster?
I would suggest that they're the same, but I'm not
Got
100%. But me being out there and I've replaced them before and put them right back in the same spot. And if it was a little wider, that would be even better because you can make some kind of bracket or something to fill the gap a little bit. But if it was too close together, then you'll have to figure another way out to do it.
Yeah, I'll put the link for linear operators up here as well too. But there's another gate operator out there too that you might want to take a look at that is not chain driven. The rotary gate systems gate operator.
Yes, yes,
It uses the same Apex board as the linear ones, and I'll go ahead and put that link up there so you guys could check that out. LiftMaster was 27.7, I believe, so I figured I could use some angle or plate to weld it to the post. Double check the manual, which is, oh, sorry, I didn't show this to everybody. Double check the manual, Logan, because although the width maybe narrower on the LiftMaster, you have to keep in mind that on both sides it's got that unistrut rail, which is probably going to add 2 inches. And although it mounts pretty close to the rail, it might give you all the room that you need. So anyways, there's a link in the post that you guys can read in the comments for the linear ones, and I'll put the rotary gate systems ones up there as well too. By the way, rotary gate has a new swinger out
yeah,
that actually looks really, really, really cool.
yeah,
So let's see. Logan also said that he I also looked into a high security, but post mount they had was 22 inches. How are high security parts doing for you out there, Robert? Have you had any problems with delays or anything, or you haven't had to order any?
I haven't had to order nothing for high security in a long time.
Okay.
I got one I service at the airport here, but they don't never give me no problems. So
Green
I have
machine.
replaced the track on it before, but
Oh, have you?
yeah. But
Man,
other than that,
I saw a green machine out here in Las Vegas that was so bad that we told them that they just had to replace it. And it had nothing to do with the
yeah,
quality of the green machine, because I know plenty of people that love that slide driver. I think the installation, me personally, it has nothing to do with high security. I just don't like hydraulics in the field. That's just me. Don't like messing with them. Don't like dealing with them because I'm not
I
set up to repair them.
I don't like hydraulics either.
Right. But there was one out here that was so bad that they had this thing on a slope, but the slope wasn't even. So the back track was like this, and then the slope of the drive was like that. So they literally had cut about 3 inches out of the front part of the gate operator just to get the track to where it would follow and go down. And
Wow.
it just was a disaster. I was consulting for another company out here, and she ended up just having to quote the company another one, a whole nother gate operator. We just put 8 slide driver 50s in. Only issue we had was the heaters. Were the heaters not hot enough, or the heaters didn't come in? What issues did you have, Logan? And let me see something before I go too much further with this. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the quality. I know that they're changing some of the boards around, and all that stuff, but I don't put too many of them in because I can replace tons of 40 chain, but I can't replace tons of hydraulic
Yeah, that's
hoses
the only
and stuff
thing.
like that.
They're for like the high security. They're for high security places. So
I mean,
that's what it's
really,
for.
are they? Are they though? I
Yeah.
mean, I squirt some hydraulic fluid down in there and get that track as
The
slick as a
biggest
button.
the biggest problem that you have with them is ice and snow. So
Oh, going in, sitting on the rack, sitting on the
yeah,
rail rather, and going back. So, Logan, I don't know if you're familiar with the rail system that you can actually install. I don't know if you know this, Robert, but they actually All-O-Matics have an option to convert from chain to rail. So you actually are using a drive rail system. Have you seen that before?
I haven't seen that at all.
So for everybody that's out there that's putting in All-O-Matics, they have a system that you can buy directly from them where you replace the chain and put it on a rail system. So if you have heavy snow, if you have corrosive environments, you can switch all of that stuff over to an industrial rated plastic and steel that will go down the track or go down the gate. And the benefit of that, past the weather resistance and all that, is that if the gate's got any kind of bend or movement in there, as long as you compensate for that by adjusting that rail to the gear, you can actually fit that in there pretty nice. Even ones that are built in with a curve in them, you can do that. Where chains are a little bit different, you gotta work with them. So, but yeah, Logan, check that out. Check out the LiftMaster one, and check out the Osco or linear one, and then also check out Rotary Gates. They use the same Apex board. They upgraded the driver part of the motor circuit, and then they also upgraded the power supply as well too. So it's a different system, but it'll get you in some super tight fits without a chain. And did you know you mess with any rotary gate systems at all?
No.
No. Yeah, they just did a swinger, and they just did their drive system over to a chain. So they're actually updating quite a bit of things on there.
Yeah. I like
So
them though. They look sweet. They look like they work
man,
smooth, man.
they are. I had a couple of them out here that I did some consulting on. They were having a couple issues that was directly related to some install stuff and the edges. So we changed a couple of things around, and they're just fine. They're actually, I think, on the Raiders Stadium as well too, here in here in Las Vegas, as well as a couple of Maxes out there. So, anyways, they're good little gate operators. And the story behind the company is actually pretty good, man.
Yeah.
So 2025, what is going on with all of that stuff, man? What do you got planned?
I'm revamping, you know, making plans to for the future of 2025. Um,
You had just recently created a couple of new packages that were going to be part of your regular marketing
yeah.
and installation. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what packages that you guys have planned?
Well, we wanted to get a residential package where it was affordable for putting on the operator, and we chose to go with a LA 400 actuator arm and wireless keypad, and with like two remotes, and come up with a good economical um, deal on a operator where the average person can afford it and still be able to make
And
a few dollars off of it.
what's that system include?
It's just like two remotes, a single LA 400 lift master, and then you have a wireless keypad, lift master keypad, and that's pretty much going to be it. Then I got my base price started off like that, and then it's got the
Yeah.
photo eye on it, and to keep safety on it for coming through the gate. But that's where it starts off at because that's what my market was demanding.
And are you using the commercial keypad? I think I just lost Robert. I was going to ask him whether he was using the commercial keypad or not. We'll get Robert back on here in a second. There he is. So, are you using that commercial keypad that you showed before, or are you using that little gray beige plastic one?
Um, the gray beige plastic one.
Right. Okay.
So
Because that one, show that one that you
and
have
so we
there on
come
your
up with a
desk.
good deal for
That you would kind of consider a commercial one, right?
this is a KPW 250.
Is that battery powered?
This has got a metal cover on the front.
So more commercial. Robert, double check your speakers and make sure I
Yeah,
got you.
I'll consider that commercial.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the white little gray beige one, we use it for
But
commercial.
anyways, we came up with this good package that will be good in our area, and that's where we're going to start off at.
Cool. What do you know the difference between a 400 and a 412?
Uh,
We're we're experiencing
no,
technical
I can't hear
difficulty.
you. We're
Double check.
breaking up.
Everything's good on my end. Why don't you log off and then log back on? So
I can hear
as
you
we
now.
can you?
Well, keep stopping.
Why don't you log off and then log back on?
Well, I'm good now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're breaking up on my
All
end just a
right.
little bit. So might be worth it just to redo your connection. See, when you live out in the country, folks, like way out there where they don't even have electricity or running water, these are the types of things that you experience.
Can you
Anyways,
hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me okay?
All right. Hold on, let me just log off then.
All right. So once we get Robert back, we'll check it out. But just so you know, I put a link to the LA 400 that Robert was talking about. I have had better luck with the LA 400 as opposed to the 500. Now, one of the things you got to keep about in the environment that I'm in is that board on board is actually pretty popular. I'm going to put a link to the 500 as well too. 500's rated at 1600 at 18 feet or 1600 pounds. And hold on, Robert. I was just talking about LA 400 and 500. You can test out your audio during that. So the 400 is
I
rated at
got you
6.
here. Can you?
I can hear you. 16 feet, 850 pounds, and the
Lost
LA 500
connection.
is rated at 18 foot,
Yeah, I hear you.
1600 pounds. So, anyways, and I trust the LA 400 more than I do the 500, the way that it's designed. But we use a lot of board on board metal frame for wood, so they add a lot of wind resistance. So I'll put a link to the LA 500 in here, and now we'll go back to Robert out in the country to see if we have him. Can you hear me, Robert? If you can hear me, tell me that you can. I see you moving your head.
Can you hear me?
Give me an audio check
I'm
there,
getting
Robert.
low.
I can hear you.
I think I got a storm coming in tonight, so might lose
Okay,
connection.
no problem. Well, we won't go too much further
Yeah, it's
to.
frozen up again on my end, probably.
All right. Well, I think that's an indication that the show is over, and that is it. See if you can, Robert, log off and log back on, and just use
I'm gonna
your
log off.
just use audio. Don't do your camera. And this is the reason why I love doing live shows. But it is what it is. We like to get the reason why we've decided to start doing live shows was two things. One, we can keep current. Two, we were finding that the shows that we were doing were just taking too long to edit. So it was costing a tremendous amount of time. And then The other thing is trying to get interaction with the guys and gals that are out there that are doing the same thing that we're doing. For instance, the conversation that we had with Logan, there's no way that we're going to be able to have that conversation if we're not doing live stuff, putting it in the comments and all of that stuff after the video is done. It's going to be tough to do. So Alan, thank you for logging on and commenting. Logan, I appreciate you commenting as well too. For your stuff, Logan, just make sure you reach out to Ben because he's got that same environment that you've got. And Cleveland in the house, representing that 216. I used to live in Cleveland long time ago, went to Kent State University. So I have an affinity for Cleveland. Looks like we got Robert back. We're going to try this one more time, everybody. And then if not, we're going to all have a Merry Christmas and call it a day. All right.
Good.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, it's clear now.
Sounds like we got a good connection. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, the gate operator gods must be looking at us, seeing what's going on. Here we got another comment from Logan. Thanks for bearing with us there, Logan. What would you recommend for a 20-foot swing ranch style? Probably fairly heavy, but won't have wind resistance. Well, that's one of those things. I mean, there's always going to be some wind resistance to it.
Is he saying 20-foot single? Is he meaning 20-foot?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, Logan. Is that a dual or a single? Because if it is a single, what about you? I can't read, can't write, can't. All right, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. He's making fun of my college that I went to. But if it were a 20-foot single, that's probably where I would max out. I would buy a All-O-Matic, not the 300, but I think it's the 320. They have two models that I would use. One's the 325 and one is another model. But I would buy
the 350.
those. Is that the 350? Okay. So I would buy that. And then I would buy, let's see, but I would not buy the 300. So they've got a 320, 325. Let's see, the 325 is 2,000 pounds at 22 feet. And the 320, let me see. I don't know that configuration all that well.
They got the 325, 2,000 pounds, 22 feet, 7-year to 5-year, 5-year commercial warranty. 24 VDC brushless motor, half horsepower.
What's the warranty on that again? It
says 7-year residential, 5 years commercial.
Okay, so the SW320 is 14 feet, 700 pounds, and they changed the warranty to 5-year residential, 3-year commercial. So I'm talking about, for me, it would have to be the 325 or the 350 DC Pro.
Now on the 300, I've got a 20-foot single at a police station that I've got it working. Yeah.
Let's see what that 300. Logan,
1,200 pounds. Max gate length is 20 feet, so I got it maxed out.
And is it AC or DC that you have there?
It's DC. It's
okay. So the DC is 22 feet, 1,200 pounds, 7-year. Yeah. See, when they throw a 5-year commercial warranty on it, that's when I start believing that they actually want this thing for commercial. But I posted on the link, everybody, for the 350, and I want to say this 375 is the one that's 36 volts. I could be wrong. It doesn't say it on here, but it's 5,000 pounds. But you know what? It's in 30 feet. It's only a 3-year commercial, which is kind of interesting. I'll put that link on there so everybody can see that one as well too. But I have not installed that, but I do like the 350 is the one that I installed.
Yeah, I put in the 350 and I have the 325 too. The 325 is more of a post mount. And I have a dual 325 out there that's like 30-foot opening aluminum gate. And then the 350, I've got them on 18-foot single gates at a apartment complex.
Okay.
And I haven't had a maintenance call on the operator. I don't know when. They work every time they open. Only time I have maintenance call on that is like on the keypad or something. You get a bad storm and it wipes. I got a long range reader on it where it picks up your tags on the car. And
Oh,
sometimes I have trouble with that.
gotcha. Um, So Logan did confirm that it was a single. So the first thing about that, Logan, me personally, is if you're building the gate, you got to be real conscious of how deep and how big that hinge post is. So I would use those King Kong
Um,
hinges,
yeah.
and then I would probably either do a 4 inch 5/16 square tube or a 6 inch 5/16 square
Now
tube.
now you can use a 4 inch. If it's a heavy gate, you do square tubing. Yeah, I would. And then um, you could do a 6 inch galvanized post with the round hinges from D&D Technologies, where they got the sealed bearing hinges, and you can bolt
Yeah.
the hinge to the gate, and then it's got a big ring around it, and you just bolt it to the post, and it's hung. Boom, you're done.
What are those hinges called? Do you know?
Ah, I don't know what they're called,
Okay.
but
No
they're the
big deal.
round hinges for round post. They make them for 3 inch, 4 inch, and 6 and 5/8. And I've used the 6 and 5/8 at the police department I was talking about, and because they had bulldog hinges on it for a chain link fence, and then I took them off and put the D&D hinge on it that was wraps around the post, 6 and 5/8, and then I bolted it to the gate, and then welded it up to the gate too.
Now, were you a guest at the police department, or were you just there actually working?
When I was there working,
Okay, I just wanted to make
but
sure it
hey, it
wasn't.
don't take much for me to be a guest there.
I want to make sure that it wasn't one of those things where it's like, hey, you work. I noticed your truck out there says y'all do fence and gates. Can you take? I give you a little time off if you could come out here and look at this. Um, so, anyways, Logan did mention that he could do a double. This is for my. Oh, he's trying to make it. He's trying to get free. He's going to get free consulting. Logan, what are you doing,
Yeah,
man?
man. Hey, you supposed to be paying us for this. Hey, I got Venmo on my other phone that
No,
don't
man.
work no more.
Oh yeah, there you go. The me personally in that situation, I think it just looks nicer to have a double gate. 2 10-foot double gates would look really nice. Yeah, you're gonna end up almost doubling the cost, if not doubling the cost,
Yeah,
because
you're
you got
doubling the cost.
yeah, because you
Um,
got double the hinge posts and then master
yeah,
slave and all that stuff.
I would give the guy what he wanted. If he wanted a 20-foot gate, I'll put a 20-foot gate in there, and I would go with a pad mount operator. And another thing, I'm pretty sure you know all this. You just make sure whenever you hang your gate that it goes over 90 degrees past your post, and you got your operator set in the right location. Your geometry's got to be right. You won't have no problems. And you can use them hinges. You won't have an issue.
So Logan came to one of the classes at Defense University, so he's free consulting for life.
Yeah.
So, but no, me personally, that's what I would do. Is if it were my own gate, and that's what I intend to do when I buy my farm. Is I want a double gate. I want a double gate pad mount. and I don't know. I might do something exotic like I shouldn't say exotic because it's not like they're exotic pricing, but like a rotary gate system swinger. Because you just have like 2 foot of 8-inch motor that's sticking out there, and then you could do the housing anywhere. So yeah, who knows what that's going to look like? But
Yeah.
I put the link for those King Kong hinges actually in the post. They're not adjustable, so if it's something that you've got ground movement or something that you think you're going to need to adjust, just be cautious of that. I would another thing with those your hinge posts, you're assuming that the gates are going to be closed most of the time, and some farms that might not be the way that it is if you got a cattle guard or something, but you might want to offset in the opposite direction just a degree or two your hinge posts to compensate for when that metal flexes.
I
So
always put the bubble on the line.
put the bubble on the line. That's your
Yep.
go-to.
Hmm.
The other thing, Logan, what's the soil like out there? Because if the soil is loose and soft, you might want to think about possibly doing your hinge post with an L off of each side, the opening side and then the closed side. Now, I wish Jeffrey was listening. Jeffrey Presbaugh, if you're listening, when he builds a double gate, he actually runs a post underneath the ground to the other hinge post. And you
Wow.
want to talk about if you want to talk about making sure those things don't close on each other, that's
Yeah.
all there is to it.
That's
Um,
that's cool.
yeah, I'm sure it's expensive, and if you saw his
Yeah.
gates, everybody would know that he ain't joking around. I'm going to put a link to his company because the other thing about Jeffrey's Gates is not only is he selling some of the designs, but that's what he does. He sells these gates to the end users, like, or not to the end users, but to the installers like me and you,
Yeah.
because the quality is so high. But he doesn't install; he just ships them to you in a custom jig, and then you install them with the specs that they've recommended, and bolt the gate operators on. I mean, he doesn't even weld the gate operators or anything like that, and he comes
Have
up with custom
you
bolts.
have you seen these Facebook Market gates out there on Facebook Market where they're selling real cheap uh, estate gates?
No, I haven't really. I haven't looked at it.
They've got them with the posts and an operator on them already, and they got
Oh yeah.
ghost operators on them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Um,
See, that's what I'm competing against.
yeah, I guess I've never had to do that until really now, you know. I this uh market that's out here in Nevada is not really a big residential market, and the few opportunities I've had to do consulting on the residential stuff, they have not been positive.
Yeah.
They were actually sticker shocked. Um,
Mhm.
and it's just been a really tough
Yeah.
market for people that I've been doing consulting stuff for. That's like, yeah, there's not really residential stuff, but yeah, I'm looking up a couple of online things like that right now, and I mean, they got dual swingers with platinum actuator arms. Oh, this is one gate. The
Like
for starting at
$1,200
885.
for the gate.
Yep, starting at 885
Yeah.
to 3445. That's got a photo eye, liftmaster receiver, 2 remotes, actuator cable, so but the flip side to that is what we're lucky about. Looks like we lost Robert again, but what we're lucky about is that um what we're lucky with is that the install, the people just don't want to do the install. So let double check your mic, Robert. He might have dropped out again. So, but anyways, if you guys are interested in high quality gate operator or high quality gates, there's Jeffrey Presbaugh. There's the name of his company, Aberdeen Gate. They're out of Texas. They do it right, that's for sure. Robert, you got audio? You got microphone? If you're talking, I can't hear you. It might have froze up again. Looks like you did freeze up again. Anyways, Logan's Foot.
Yeah,
I've been.
it's going in and out just a little bit.
No problem. We'll
I
probably,
got. I can hear you.
that storm's probably coming
Well,
in.
I'm gonna log back off and log back on.
So Logan put in. I've been looking into the big barbed wire, so to make a gate out of it for a personal farm, I can do anything really. I like that look. But where I've liked it the most is where the side panels on the gate or extended out a little bit further, Logan, that barbed wire. And the last time that I was at King Metals in Dallas, they had a bunch of that for sale. So you might be able to pick it up as steel. And if anybody's interested in King Metals, this is the hinges that we were recommending before, the barrel hinges, and they have those big barbed wire as well too. If anybody is interested, they've got 3 main locations. But anyways, all right, you country redneck, I got you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Robert? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. All right. But anyways, the 2025 is going to pop off. We're going to have to do it when there ain't no storm with Robert, but this is going to be the end of the show or the last show for 2024. And we're going to have to give Robert a T1 line to his house.
Man,
so
I need internet.
You still wireless out there?
Yeah, I got the router out here, but sometimes it ain't the best. So
yeah, well, we'll have to work on a hardwire solution. It seems like this was the worst that it's been as far as the connections once we got our audio and everything.
I also got a storm coming. So
yeah.
But
well, anything else you got before you want to sign off for 2025?
I'm ready to go out there and do it again. Ready for another year.
Yep.
Ready to make some videos.
Yeah, that's it, man. Hey, what's going on, Gary?
Everybody.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Two Smooth Operators on YouTube, that's where primarily we've been putting our videos. And if anybody is going to be at Fence Tech, we will be there. Two Smooth Operators, underground, live, starting shit with everybody, mainly each other, messing with all the gate operator differences and stuff that we have. But if you're interested in sponsoring us, we will be your free marketing or free. We will be your marketing department to get plenty of videos out.
Free,
man, almost
threw us under the bus. We're doing it for free.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, hell, we just promoted LiftMaster, All-O-Matic, BD Loops, Coyote Denali Access Control, the Finch University, Rotary Gate Systems, all for free. But
I mean, we're
that's
doing
what
it
the whole. Well, that's what the whole point of this was, right? Is for us to be able to talk about gate operator stuff with other people that do gate operators.
Yes.
Not a bunch of old fat white guys that have never installed gate operators ever, or hadn't installed gate operators in the 30 years that I've known them. So that's the whole point. Real stuff, real talk from real installers. And by the way, I'm just a few days from being an old fat white guy myself. So I got the old part. Now I just need to get the fat part.
I can give you the fat part.
But yeah, if you're interested, we've got a couple of different packages for Fence Tech that will be sponsored. But the main thing is we'll be out there talking about gate operators and helping gate operator technicians make more money. That's what our goal is. If you're on the East Coast, you call Robert if you guys need any on-site training. There's his phone number. I might have opportunity to be coming to Tennessee here pretty soon, so I might need your help on that one. Got a handshake deal on some consulting out there for the policies and procedures for the business on the operations side, and just little kicking ass and taking names for some people that are looking for everyday advice on the gate operator part of the business.
Well, I'm taking over East Tennessee.
Oh, are you? That's right. You just had a consulting gig out there at East Tennessee. Are you headed back out there?
Yeah, I'm supposed to go back there in January.
Oh man, it's gonna be nice cold out there then. Yeah. Have y'all got any snow on the ground so far this year?
No, not where I live at.
Oh yeah. Will you generally get snow in the winter?
Very little.
Okay.
We might get a snow flurry, or sometimes we'll get one good snow, but it's not. Hear me?
Well, there's Robert's phone number. If you guys need practical advice on how to install gate operators from a fence and gate guy, there's his phone number. And if you guys need any of the operational programs and setting things up for your business so you can get predictable results, I got tons of checklists, and I got tons of ways for you guys to be able to step back away from the business and work on marketing, which truly is the business. There's my phone number right there. So I think that's about it, man. Let's go talk about gate operators more and start giving these gate operators techs a voice in the industry for 2025. Yeah. And hit us off with that intro one more time, man.
Two smooth operators, your hosts, Robert Evers and Michael Brooks. Please stay tuned for a good episode. Peace. So what?
I think that was one of the smoother ones that we've done, man. So that was a great job. All right. Thanks for joining me, Robert. Let's get out of here and go enjoy our Sunday nights.